All right, so welcome, Susie, to the Zoom room again. Great to have you here. So yeah, we'll just dive in. We had a little share. Let's dive into today's teaching. We'll look at the quote, and look at then the lesson is very short today. So I'm just gonna share my screen. Give me a moment. Okay, so there's okay. Can you see that okay? Should I make that a bit bigger, maybe? That's
No. Actually, yes.
It's quite small writing.
Yeah.
Because it's quite a lot to get in there. So.
I just noticed then there's that many lines.
Yes, there you go. Can you read that now?
Yeah. Oh gosh, what were we just talking about? I can see clearly now the rain is gone.
Yeah. But what's amazing, I was just comment on that, is just how the Holy Spirit seems to bring the appropriate messages to people at the right time. You know, why did I choose this? I don't know, just that's the lesson for the day. Then I've seen this movie, it's a great movie. I'm like, oh, I can see clearly now. I remember the lyric, great song. Okay, well let's go there. And then that resonates with you because that's exactly the experience you're having. So that's how it works. And you start to, if you don't sort of pause and wonder and go, well, there seems to really be a divine intelligence behind this whole process that just is orchestrating everyone's healing perfectly. That's the miracle. You can only be in awe at that. It's quite incredible that there is this presence that can do this, and each person is that you're on an individual journey to awaken. Each person's journey is being looked after by the Holy Spirit, and it's all being kind of synchronized. That's just quite mind-blowing. So having said that, yeah, if you read, it's a very simple lyrics, but there's a profound message behind them. So
it is, because I always used to think about the song always look on the bright side, but I love this morning, and I listened to it a few times before I got into the what's it. So yeah, I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's going to be a bright, sunshiny day. Oh yes, I can make it now. The pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is that rainbow I've been praying for. Look all around, there's nothing but blue skies. Look straight ahead, there's nothing but blue skies. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Here is that rainbow I've been praying for. It's going to be a bright, sunshiny day.
Yeah, it goes on, and that's just about half the lyrics, but it's the key. The beauty of songs, I mean, it's really poetry, isn't it? That's a poem then just set to music. And there's actually it's so simple. I mean, these are not complicated lyrics, but there's a very simple truth behind it, that you can clear your perception. You can get over the dark clouds that had you blind. You can let go of the pain, and you can see only blue sky. Blue sky is symbolic of pure formless awareness, as I say here. So anyway, we'll get to that. So if you want to read the first couple of paragraphs.
Today's inspiring quote is an excerpt from the theme song of a movie called Cool Runnings, based on a true story about a Jamaican bobsleigh team who qualified for and competed in the 1988 Winter Olympics in Calgary against all the odds.
I mean, you just go Jamaica, yeah, on the equator, it's really hot. How on earth did they do it? And the movie, shows that. Very, very inspiring. And it's just a really feel good movie. So that might be our movie for movie watching on Saturday night, I think. Incidentally, if you're available on Saturday, I might actually do a movie watching evening where we all join together.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Well, I've tried it before. No one's shown up, so I haven't tried for a few months. But I have the ability to do it this Saturday. So
yeah,
maybe I'll try it again, because it is quite nice to pause the movie, stop, and then say, okay, so what's coming up? And it's like movie watch. It's mind watching. What's coming up, and then if there's a situation, then I'll give maybe an interpretation or some commentary. And you go, oh, I mean, for things like The Matrix, it's brilliant, because you go, oh wow, oh okay, I'm actually seeing what that scene really means. The Matrix takes about 4 hours to watch, because there's so much in it. This one will take less, but still, there's some really quite, in all these movies, any good movie, it has some quite deep themes. And it's like to pause it and discuss it, and then it's mind watching. You go, okay, well, what's coming up for me?
Oh, I can see a video. I can see a video club now, not only the book club.
Well, that's kind of the idea. Is that you watch it together. And David Hoffmeister actually does whole day movie workshops. They pick a movie and then it's a whole day. So we won't quite do a whole day, but you can do certainly.
It's a very good idea, because I think, when things are happening, it's really good to be doing something totally different outside of the box and watching a movie and doing it together, because I think that's a fab idea, to be fair. I didn't make Saturdays because obviously everybody works, and then on a Saturday we may be doing something. So I'm sure this Saturday, I'm just going to say yes, I'm up for it this Saturday.
Okay, well, I'll put it out there and see who else joins. I know people like Sally go to bed at 8 o'clock, so it might not work for her, but I'll put it out there and we'll see. And at the very least, you just watch a movie together.
Yeah.
With a bit of commentary.
It's
quite a nice way to spend an evening. Okay, and the Cool Runnings, so we'll probably watch that on Saturday. So we've had some quite intense movies. The Green Mile and Shawshank Redemption. Those are, although they're inspiring, there's some of those scenes are just like, whoa. And
don't forget, is it Noah? You had Noah as well, so you've had
Noah, that's quite heavy. So this one's a bit lighter. It's like, okay, so let's just have some joy. And there's still some really good themes about perseverance and overcoming obstacles and self-doubt and fear and all of that. But it's a bit lighter, and it's got a really, inspirational message. So it'll be nice. Because some of those, on the Green Mile, there's that one scene. Oh my God, where the execution is just like, ooh, really, really, really heavy stuff. But it's good mind watching. That's why I give it to be able to remain. Okay, it's just I'm watching it and watch the emotions coming up and just.
I think I did what you suggested. I did what you suggested, because, like I said, you're giving us pointers, and it's up to us to make that. And I think you did suggest to do the meditation before that bit. And I did, but I was already in the frame of mind to remember that this is a movie, and I think that makes a huge difference, doesn't it, if we let ourselves. But it just depends what's going off in our lives, and it can trip you up just like that. So.
Okay, so carry on. The lyrics cleverly use the symbols.
The lyrics cleverly use the symbols of rain, clouds, blue sky, sun, and a rainbow to point to the truth of clear perception that can see beyond the dark clouds of illusion that seem to obscure the truth continually in this world. Here's my interpretation of these symbols that will help you to connect more deeply with the deeper meaning of today's quote. Rain equals tears. Clouds equal misperceptions of seemingly challenging circumstances. Blue sky, pure form awareness. pure formless awareness. Sun, eternal, source of perfect love. Rainbow, miracle, correction of misperceptions. Do you know, that would be fantastic for kids at school, you know. If you just use that and just, you know, because that's one thing we're not teaching children.
Yeah, how to see a bit deeper. So you listen to a song and you go, well, what does it say? You know, the rain is the tears caused by your clouds and misperceptions of your seemingly challenging circumstances, whatever that may be. Blue sky beyond that he's pointing us to is the pure formless awareness of perfect love. The sun shining through it is that perfect love, eternal source of perfect love. And the rainbow is the miracle, the correction of your misperceptions. Now, if you look at that, you know, the symbolism of the song, it's very deep and very profound. Very simple song. And people say, oh, it's just a feel-good song. But what he's pointing us to is spiritual awakening here in the simple song. Which is, I think, why these songs resonate. You just listen to it and you're like, because there's a deeper meaning. But it's to explore it. So, you know, very simple song, simple lyrics. Because the truth is simple. Just using symbolism to point us to part of our mind that we've denied. This pure formless awareness that is the blue sky. Because sky is a great symbol. You know, it's open, it's expansive, and there's no form to it. You know, if you look for the best I could do for a picture of sky is that, because how do you take a photo how do you create an emoji of the sky? You know, it's just this vast expanse of blue. There's no form to it. So it's a pointer in this world to pure formless awareness, which has no form. And so that's, you know, how it can be used in and how it has been used in the song. The blue sky is this clear, you know, clear awareness. Sun, your source shining through that awareness. So I use it in the meditations as well. So it's your source of your awareness now shining through. You've opened the space for it. You have this pure formless awareness in your mind, the blue sky, and the source, which we call the light, is just shining through it. It is it. I mean, then the analogy takes you so far. Eventually, you go beyond all symbols and you just merge into that experience completely. But while we're here, it's helpful to have these symbols because the symbols point you there. If you interpret them correctly, they can point you into the experience of exactly what they're pointing to, the pure formless awareness of perfect love, in this case, beyond all of the misperceptions and the tears and the sorrow. Beyond all of that lies this blue sky. And we know, you know, from our own experience in this world, that the rain will come, but inevitably it clears up, and then there's blue sky again. So, and the blue sky is always behind the clouds. It's always there. It's just obscured. You know, if it's a cloudy day and it's raining, you don't see it, but that doesn't mean it's not there. There's a fantastic scene in the final Matrix movie of the first trilogy. Don't know if did you see that movie?
I am into the Matrix.
Did you see the third one? Matrix Revolutions.
Is that where they were on bikes and that? Right at the there's bikes
not the latest one. That was number 4. Although there was a Ducati in I think number 2. She was riding a Ducati, but
you on about the last one that was on last year at the cinema?
No, it was number 3 in the original trilogy, which they made 20 years ago. So it's called Matrix Revolutions, and in it they're going to the machine city, and to get through, you know, all the machines are coming to try and stop them. So they have to go up, and they go up in their hovercraft above the clouds, and the world is just this cloudy world. So the sun's been obscured, and so they go up, and for a brief moment they see the sun above the clouds, which has always been there. You know, this glorious. It's like a symbol of awakening. It's like the precursor to Neo's. He's about to, you know, fully awaken and go back to the source. But you just see this beyond, you know, the dense cloud. It's all man-made. Is this, you know, this glorious reality that's been obscured, and so it's a good symbol. the sky beyond the clouds of what's happening in our mind.
I can't remember that. I might have to go and watch it again. But
yeah, it's towards the end when he's about to go into the machine city and have his final showdown with Smith, and they have to get through all of the machines are coming to stop them, and the only way is up. And again, it's all symbolic. You have to go up in your awareness. You have to rise above the level of the battleground, to use Yeshua's words in the Course in Miracles. Rise above the battleground into this higher perception, above the clouds, into the light. And they have this moment where, oh wow, they see this glorious. Well, Neo's blind, but he senses it. This glorious, beautiful light above all the man-made clouds, and that's just symbolic of what we've done in this world. The world obscures that glorious, pure blue sky and the radiant sun that's always there, and but it's within. It's the inner sun. It's the inner sky. We're looking for. But these external symbols can be helpful pointers to help us to remember. And Yeshua uses them in the Course. He uses things like sky and wind and nature symbols to point us, although they're illusions, but they can point us to the truth. And that's the Holy Spirit's reinterpretation. So the Holy Spirit is the part of your mind that can do this and see in the symbols, that can see a deeper meaning that points you to the ultimate meaning of God. Okay, so then there's the song, which is really lovely. Did you listen to it?
Yeah. Listened to it about at least 3 times this morning.
Yeah. And it's it's a meditation. So music can put you into a state of mind where you just in an altered state. That's why people like it. Music, and with good lyrics, really. In my view, the modern good songwriting and set to music is modern poetry. People don't really read poetry anymore, but they'll listen to songs, set to music. So the modern poets often are the musicians who then put it to music, and it becomes a catchy tune, and people listen to it, and they don't say, "Oh, I just like the song." But if you actually listen to the lyrics with the music that then alters your state, it's a great transformational tool to change your state. So use it if it works for you. Use these songs, and you remember, oh, that song really lifts me. So if you're feeling challenged, you're feeling a bit low, well, okay, that's one way. It's another way of interrupting your pattern, getting you out of it. Okay, well, just listen to that song, and it immediately changes your perception if it's a good one. Okay, so that brings us into today's lesson, which and what is the Holy Spirit? So we've got time, so let's read what is the Holy Spirit. Take us into the lesson. We'll do a meditation on the lesson, and then there's one paragraph of reading on patience from the Course in Miracles, from the Manual for Teachers, and then we're done. So if you want to read what is the Holy Spirit from number 1. Do you find it helpful to read the original and then read the translation?
It normally does, but because I've been on quite a few times this week, I think it's just the alternative that I kind of prefer. But it's only because of the way you've written it and the way I've seen it this week. But it's up to you. I'll do it how you want.
Okay, well, let's try it. You read it first, so that's kind of the first run, and then on the second run, reading it in the alternative, we'll just unpack it as we go. Okay, so read the original first.
The Holy Spirit
meditates.
The Holy Spirit mediates between illusions and the truth, since he must bridge the gap between reality and dreams. Perception leads to knowledge through the grace that God has given him. to be his gift to everyone who turns to him for truth. Across the bridge that he provides are dreams all carried to the truth, to be dispelled before the light of knowledge. There are sights and sounds forever laid aside, and where they were perceived before, forgiveness has made possible perception's tranquil end.
Okay, so then read it again. Holy Spirit.
The Holy Spirit is the remembrance of perfect love or oneness that mediates between illusions and the truth.
Okay, do you understand what he's saying there?
Yeah, because I think that's what happened this morning to something that I was going through. That's why I'd stopped a bit when I'd read it.
So it's an awareness that just mediates between these worlds. And you start to be able to reinterpret this world from the perspective of oneness or love.
Since it must bridge the gap between reality and dreams, perception leads to knowledge through the grace that pure formless awareness of perfect love has given it, to be its gift to everyone who turns to it for truth.
Okay, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, again, I can only just say, I mean, this seems quite apt for me today. The song I can see clearly now, and then breaking it down to see what's actually happened today is exactly what I'm reading.
So perception leads to knowledge. Actually, I must make knowledge a capital. Keep seeing little bits I can improve. So perception leads to knowledge. Knowledge is this area completely above perception. So if we look at this, knowledge lies here. It's God, love, oneness, pure formless awareness. It's knowledge, and it's beyond perception. This world the ego has invented is perceptual. So there's a subject who's perceiving apparent external objects. It's based on duality. But knowledge is the domain that takes you beyond that. Knowledge of perfect oneness, the knowledge of who you really are, lies here. And it's completely beyond the domain of perception. And this is what awaits you beyond perception. So the Holy Spirit is the guide. It's the mediator, the guide, the reinterpreter of the dream. It reinterprets everything that's happening here from the perspective of oneness. It says, well, in oneness, whatever you see here is not true. You see, that's the only interpretation. Nothing I see really means anything, because only oneness is true. So none of this is true. And that's the Holy Spirit's single interpretation of whatever's happening here in the dream, which allows you to undo every single belief that the ego has sponsored, because you simply look on it and say that's not true and that's not real. And that's how you undo ultimately the belief in separation entirely, just by denying it in whatever shape or form it seems to arise in your perception. Okay, does that make sense? All right, continue across the bridge.
Across the bridge that it provides are dreams all carried to the truth, to be dispelled before the awareness of knowledge. There are sights and sounds forever transcended, and where they were perceived before, letting go has made possible perception's tranquil end.
Okay. Any thoughts on that?
Letting go has made possible perception's tranquil's end. What do you?
So by letting go of your attachment to all of this, letting go means you deny its reality. Really, in your mind, you're not making it real, which means you wouldn't think obsessively about it. You're not going to feel strong emotions about it. These things seem to happen, but you remain aware without indulging in any kind of meaning. You're not what you're doing is not you're not giving it a meaning it doesn't have. That's really the reinterpretation. So the ego is really good at creating false meanings. So all of this seems to be happening, and therefore it seems to be meaningful, and you have an interpretation about it. And the reinterpretation, the single reinterpretation that the Holy Spirit has of all of us, is that none of it's true. None of it's true. None of it's meaningful. None of it really happened. None of it is happening. So don't give your time and energy and attention to it. Simply remain rooted in this awareness. Now, a lot of people would say, well, that's horribly impractical because you have to deal with this stuff. But this is the miraculous power of the Spirit. By denying it and staying rooted in your true awareness, you often get specific guidance that comes through to deal with these situations. Just by letting it go and saying, okay, I'm giving it to Spirit. I'm letting go of my existing perception of it. So I'm creating some space. I'm opening my mind. That allows something else to come in, doesn't it? Because you freed your mind from your existing misperceptions. And then the Holy Spirit can come in and interpret the situation differently. And it can actually give you quite specific, helpful guidance. Okay, we'll say that, or do that, try that, on the level of form, which then it becomes our guide in this world. It's the guide out of the illusion. So the Holy Spirit is the interfacer and the guide in the dream world that will lead us out of the dream world. And that's essential. Without the guide, you'd be lost forever in the dream world. That can actually interpret the specifics that the ego has made, knowing that they're not ultimately real, but it can interpret them, reinterpret them in a helpful way that helps you to climb back up the ladder of separation from the crazy belief that you're a victim and climb back up to the top, where you realize that ultimately this thought of separation that sponsors it all is not true and real. And you let that go. That's the master belief that sponsors the whole game show. And you let that go. And so that's what the Holy Spirit's doing. Always, it's just going to ask you to reinterpret whatever you're perceiving here, to free your mind from believing it's real, to free your mind from the domain of perception, because this is all perceptual, to free it into knowledge, the capital K, which is the knowledge of this awareness, that you are this awareness, you are this loving awareness, and there's really nothing else. Nothing else matters, nothing else has any meaning. And it's necessary in the dream world to have the guide. You need a mediator, you need a guide that can interface between these worlds. It's the translator. It's the ability to step down this extraordinary presence that is non-dual, that doesn't know about perception. And now it can take that and it can step it down into a form that can look and perceive the world, but help you perceive it differently. So you can actually function in this world very effectively at the same time as escaping the world. And that's the genius of the Holy Spirit. And you do that by letting go or forgiving your existing misperceptions of whatever's showing up in the dream. And that process is forgiveness or letting go, or at one-ment, or salvation. There's a number of names for it. And that's why we're studying this course, is to learn that. How do you actually do that? So looking at this again, whatever you want to call this process of true perception or Christ's vision, the miracles, having whole awareness through forgiveness, letting go, surrender, salvation, at one-ment, enlightenment. These are all names that point to this transformation process. It's the changing of your mind. And that's the key. That's what we're studying here. This aspect here, actually doing this, is why we train ongoing. Because to do this, to learn the skill, call it the art of letting go, is the one thing that we're here to learn in this world. And it's the hardest thing that you will learn, because the ego is going to fight you tooth and nail not to do this. It's going to try and get you to attach to your existing misperceptions and make those true and real, because it knows that if you start doing this, then the separate self concept must go. You will let that go and will give way to the one self, true self, or the Christ that you are. And so it's fighting its corner. And that's why it's difficult to do this, because you're letting go of a self concept that's been with you for a very, very long time. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Happy with number one? You want to give a little summary of that? What did you learn from number one?
Remember who you are. Remember that, you know, perfect love is that awareness. And it's that's the bridge, that's the gap. You know, that's, how can I put it? It's making sense today, but it hasn't done before, where see past that illusion and just know that you are pure perfect love.
It's a reinterpreter, really. It allows you to reinterpret whatever
Yeah, that's it, really.
and that's really helpful. Without the ability to reinterpret your perceptions, you'd be stuck in your existing misperceptions forever. And if you wanted to look at this, so let's have a little look at this diagram, instrument for peace. You'd be stuck with your existing perceptions, with the underlying emotions and the thoughts and the beliefs. And at the core of that is a desire to be a separate self. You'd be stuck with that forever if you couldn't reinterpret. You couldn't change your mind. So the Holy Spirit starts with perceptions. Okay, well, you know, that's a perception, but is that true? Actually, quite possibly it's not true. So let's start to dig a bit deeper. What's underlying the perception? Oh, okay, there's an emotion there. And that's the process. And it's uncomfortable when you go into emotions, isn't it? You go, oh, you know, it can be very intense, dark emotions. But you're starting to uncover all of this with its guidance just by questioning perception. You see, if you never question this, you never say, well, I may be wrong, then nothing changes, does it? If you go, okay, well, I'm willing to look at that perception, question it, say maybe it's false, maybe I'm misperceiving, maybe I'm deluded. Okay, well, let's consider that. And now let's go and explore the emotion that underlies it. Okay, go within, feel the emotion, bring it into conscious awareness. Okay, what thoughts are sponsoring that emotion? Okay, what belief is behind the thoughts? Okay, now we're getting to our core belief. And underneath that, you start to see, well, this core belief comes from a desire to be a separate self. So that's been my desire that's sponsoring all of this. And if I'm struggling on the level of perception, I'm misperceiving, it's because I still have a desire to be a separate self. Right? I can change that. The true prayer is to say, well, I don't want to be a separate self anymore. I choose to be one self. So from that decision to be one self, or the Christ, you see how these diagrams link in. You decide to be the Christ. Now, from the Christ, you change your belief about who you are, your core belief. You can't be a victim if you're the Christ. Not possible. Your thoughts about yourself, your emotions, and that ripples up into your perception. So this identifying with Christ, or the true self, then changes your perceptions of whatever you're experiencing. And that's the transformation. Now you've changed your perception, you've cleaned up all of this, and you've identified with a new self. So you're reborn in the spirit through this process. Your entire life has changed. This is why it's so life-changing, because you're undoing the very core of your belief in who you are, who you think you are. You thought you were Susie, you thought you were a person with your story and your life history, which honestly wasn't that great. And now you're going, actually, I'm not. I was never that. That's just a story I made up. And all of this is just layers of false beliefs, thoughts, emotions, and then the perceptions. It's layers to cover over the truth. Because at the core here, in the very heart of my mind, what I decide to be is the truth for me. If I decide to be a separate self, that becomes my truth. If I decide to be one self, then that becomes my truth. So this process just takes you down through the layers into the level of a decision, primary fundamental decision. Who do I want to be? Do I want to be a separate self, or do I want to be one self? Which is the decision we originally made to start with. You see how this works? We decided to be a separate self. That's what kicked it all off. So this takes you back to that original decision. It says, okay, you decided to be a separate self. In the situation, if you hang on to these beliefs, thoughts, emotions, and perceptions, you're still deciding to be a separate self. So you're making the same error. Okay, well, you can change it now. And when you change it now, you change it for all time. You're changing your mind about the whole dream. And it all just starts to unwind if you do that.
I think
It's
that's
quite
what today.
powerful.
Yeah, I think today's lesson was good for that, because you're constantly reminding us that we're pure awareness of love, yet the ego was kicking in and saying, but you're not love, you're not love, you've never been love, you know. So that's why I thought today everything that you've said did point me to that I am, that yeah, I still know there's something that needs to be done about it, because you know, this is today. Who knows how I'm going to wake up tomorrow? I choose to want to look at this way and be in one, but anything sometimes happens, trips you up, and you're back thinking those same thoughts. Like you said, it's that whole sludge of the thoughts, the emotions that make you feel really unlovable, I guess. And then you believe what you believe is all that conditioning, all that, like you said, the victim, you get down really into it, don't you? You really can, but you get digging a hole and you just don't realize.
Yeah. So that's why this is powerful, because it takes you through the levels to the very core. Okay, well, what do you choose to be? You can't blame anyone else. Do you choose to be a victim, a separate self that's very little, limited, lack, loss, limitation, suffering, sickness, death? Ultimately, you're a victim of the external circumstances. Or do you choose to be oneself? Do you choose to be the Christ in the situation? And that's what every situation comes down to. Which, you know, which self are you going to be? And the worksheet just takes you through the process of going through the layers quite effectively, stripping them away to get to the core belief. And then beyond that, the desire or the prayer. What do I choose to be? That's where the miracle lies, because you're changing your mind about what you choose to be.
Bless you.
Oh, thank you. Bless you too. All right. So number 2.
The goal the Holy Spirit's teaching sets is just this end of dreams. The sights and sounds must be translated from the witnesses of fear to those of love. And when this is entirely accomplished, learning has achieved the early goal it has in truth. For learning, as the Holy Spirit guides it to the outcome it perceives for it, because the means to go beyond itself, to be replaced by the eternal truth.
Okay. And then alternatively,
The goal the remembrance of perfect love's teaching sets is just this end of dreams. For sights and sounds must be translated from the witnesses of fear to those of love.
So any thoughts on that?
Yeah, when you're fighting against yourself, there's no way you can translate the fear that you're feeling into love in that moment. But this is just letting you know that everything has to be translated.
So it's the remembrance. You know, it's that part of you that remembers what that state of perfect love is. We came from that. That's our true nature. So there must be a memory of it in your mind. That pure formless awareness of perfect love. There's for many people, a very distant memory. It's been so covered over. But there's a memory in your mind of what that state is like. And now he's asking you to go into your mind and recall it. And allow that memory, which then connects you with the truth of what still is. It's a memory, but that truth is still there. That now guides you in your life. Your thoughts, your words, your actions. And then your perception, sights and sounds, are translated from the witnesses of fear to those of love. So you simply reinterpret whatever you see in this dream. This is all, remember, it's designed by the ego to show you fear, guilt and fear and sin and attack. That's the thought system of the ego. So you must look on all these things and reinterpret them. Say, but these are not real. None of this is real or meaningful at all. So I simply overlook it. I let it go. I don't allow this to block my pure formless awareness of perfect love, which underlies it. So then you are looking beyond it, not with the physical eyes, but you're doing it's a mental process. You're doing it in your mind. Okay. So I'm going to continue when this is entirely accomplished.
And when this is entirely accomplished, learning has achieved the only goal it has in truth. For learning is the remembrance of perfect love, guides it to the outcome it perceives for it, becomes a means to go beyond itself, to be replaced by the eternal truth.
Ah, so what's he saying there?
Remember who you are, and you'll shift your perceptions out of the illusion to the truth.
So you must learn, although the truth is eternal, because we've forgotten it, we must learn it again. And the learning is the undoing of the blocks to it. So as we undo the blocks, that seems like learning. Actually, we're just undoing what was false to discover the true again. So you're not learning how to become a better self. You're learning how to undo the blocks to the awareness of the self that was already there, always has been there. That's a critical point. So it's a cutting away process rather than an adding to process. Hence, letting go is the primary tool.
And for blocks, I guess you could call them errors, couldn't you?
Yeah. It's a block, it's an error, and it shows up as a thought and emotion or emotion that feels limiting, restricted, doesn't feel good. That's a block. So the Holy Spirit reminds you, whatever the block is you're experiencing, that this block is not real. Whatever the circumstances are that seemingly triggered the block, those circumstances are not real either. The whole thing is a setup to get you to remain in the block and not aware of the truth beyond it. And that's when you start to understand that, this becomes quite easy. It's like, well, that principle always applies. The world was set up by the ego to defend itself, to perpetuate these blocks to the awareness of love's presence and keep you in the block rather than in the pure formless awareness of perfect love beyond it. When you understand, what its purpose is, then you're free because you don't have to believe that purpose anymore. As long as you still think the world is real and you're trying to find some kind of happiness, peace, satisfaction within the world, you will be disappointed time and time again. Okay. Happy with number 2.
Yeah.
Number 3.
If you but knew how much your Father yearns to have you recognize your sinlessness, you would not let his voice appeal in vain, nor turn away from his replacement for the fearful images and dreams you made. The Holy Spirit understands the means you made by which you would attain what is forever unattainable, and if you offer them to him, he will employ the means you made for exile to restore your mind to where it truly is at home.
Yeah. The alternative.
If you only knew how much your source yearns to have you recognize your innocence, you would not let its voice appeal in vain. nor turn away from its replacement for the fearful images and dreams you made. The remembrance of perfect love understands the means you made by which you try to attain what is forever unattainable.
Yeah? Do you understand what he's saying there?
I think I need to go through that bit again. I think I sensed something in the first bit, but I feel the remembrance of perfect love. That attain what is forever unattainable.
Understand what he's saying there?
No.
He's saying we made up these means, the ego, to try to attain some kind of happiness, satisfaction, and it will be forever unattainable within the ego's thought system. We're never going to succeed because the ego can never bring us the happiness, the peace, the love, the joy that we really want. So the Holy Spirit understands the means you made. So all the tricks and the deceptions of the ego and all the false idols you've pursued and all the goals that you thought were going to work and didn't. And it understands all of that. And then says, well, it's okay. Bring them all to me and just give them over. Hand it all over. Don't continue using these false means, since they're not going to work. So in the Bible, they talk about letting go of the idols. It's a big theme. You've got to let go of your idols. Well, the idol is not something made of wood or stone or bronze. The idol is in your mind. It's an idea. So you value the idea of something in this world more than the truth, which is pure formless awareness of perfect love. And so we must just give it all over. Employ the means you made for exile to restore your mind to where it truly is at home. So this is key. You understand what he's saying? The means you made for exile is the very mechanism of projection that we've made up. So we project out from our belief in separation. We project all of this. We make this up as a covering over pure formless awareness. Now that justifies all of these kinds of thoughts and emotions like guilt and sin and fear and attack thoughts. It's the covering over pure formless awareness of perfect love. And the only reason for the world is to do that. When I had my mystic experience, it was so clear to me. I had this just pure formless awareness experience for quite a short time. It was only a minute, I don't know. It was very clear to me then in interpreting it immediately that the only purpose for this world was to justify the thoughts and emotions that the ego wanted you to think. All of the rubbish, all of the difficult, challenging thoughts and emotions, the problems, the emotional pain, the drama, all of that is just, you need the world to justify that, you see, because you couldn't experience all of that without a world that seemingly triggered it. So that's what we've done. And I cried because it was like we have projected all of this out. And then we've set up this mechanism of projection perception to keep ourselves in the belief that all of this is real and that these negative thoughts and emotions are actually true and real. And we need to think them and we need to feel them. And then we identify with a separate self that is really just made up of those thoughts and emotions. And so you can start to see how your self-concept and the veil of illusion, the projection of the world, are one. You see, that's just different aspects, the internal and the external aspect, as is shown here, interior and exterior. This is the mind, and then the projection of the mind outwards miscreates this exterior world, which then feeds back into the mind by perception. So projection is there that way, from the mind projecting out. Perception, the mind interprets what's been projected as real. And of course, you've projected it from a belief system. What does it do? It reinforces that belief system from which it was projected is true, doesn't it? And so it's just a hamster wheel. You're around and around, trapped in this very closed loop, not being able to see that this is all self-created. And the Holy Spirit just reinterprets this. Often the means you made for exile. So the external world and everything that you see and perceive in the external world now becomes the means that you can escape, because by seeing the external world for what it is, a projection of your beliefs, you have the key to getting to your core beliefs. You see that? You can actually see what your belief is now, because it's manifested in the mirror of the world. And so the Holy Spirit knows that. And it uses the mechanism of defense that the ego has invented, being the projection mechanism. And it uses that through the reinterpretation to free you, to show you what your beliefs are, and then to help you to let them go. Which is why he says it will employ the means you made for exile, this projection perception mechanism of the mind, to restore your mind to where it truly is at home, home being pure formless awareness of perfect love, beyond perception. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah, and probably hitting me a lot deeper today, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, it's, to understand this, this takes, because we're so entrenched in perception and projection. We do it by default. It's just, this is how we experience reality. To be able to zoom out of that, have the awareness to go, okay, this is all just a setup. So right now, I'm being set up. I'm perceiving things externally to me, and that's a setup of my mind. The mind's invented this to convince me that I'm a separate self, and I'm living in that setup. But if I understand, how that game is played, then I have the awareness not to be sucked into the mental and emotional drama that the ego wants me to be sucked into, seemingly justified by the external world. And then I can remain above it all, reinterpret it by going, well, none of this is true, no matter what seems to happen on the level of form.
From knowledge where he has been placed by God, the Holy Spirit calls to you to let forgiveness rest upon your dreams and be restored to sanity and peace of mind. Without forgiveness, will your dreams remain to terrify you, and the memory of all your Father's love will not return to signify the end of dreams has come.
Okay, so read it, the alternative.
From knowledge where it originates in pure formless awareness of perfect love, the remembrance of perfect love calls to you to let go of your dreams and be restored to sanity and peace of mind. Without letting go, your dreams will remain to terrify you, and the memory of all your source's love will not return to signify the end of dreams has come.
Okay, so any thoughts on that?
It's getting in touch with that deeper knowing, like you said. Because there is a knowing, isn't it? That's why you're led this way and you're driven this way to do what you're doing.
Let go of your dreams, be restored to sanity and peace of mind. So that's the ultimate objective. Peace of mind. Are you peaceful? It's always a good test. Am I peaceful? Okay, if I'm not peaceful, there's more letting go to do. It's very simple. He's saying there's one thing you have to learn, one skill, that's to let go of your thoughts and your emotions about everything. Because those thoughts and emotions constitute your reality in this world. So you must let those go and open your mind then to the reinterpretation. You still perceive, but you perceive from a deeper place, from the awareness of the truth in you. You're now going to perceive the situation very differently. Okay,
Mm.
so I want to give a little summary of number 4. What's he saying there in summary?
Like you just said, there's a knowing that the only thing you have to do is to let go of your dreams. Otherwise, you're going to stay insane.
So it's the attachment. It's to make the dream real. That's what you're letting go of.
Mm.
You make it real when you think certain thoughts about it and you feel emotions about it. That's how it works. So the stronger the thought and the emotion about the dream, the more real it is to you. So that's why the ego likes intense thoughts and emotions. It likes you to obsess about something. It likes you to feel the intensity of the emotion because it makes the dream real. And it obscures the pure formless awareness of perfect love that underlies that. So as long as you remain in the ego's misperception, there's no awakening. You can't end the dream. You can't awaken to who you really are. It requires the courage to be willing to look honestly at all of your dreams. Say, well, whatever I'm perceiving, it's all a dream. And there's no exception to that. It's either all a dream or it's not a dream. So there are no exceptions. And learning to make no exceptions is the mind training. So, well, this always applies. The truth is true no matter what seems to be happening. So I'm not going to be tempted to make an exception for a particular situation or person because there are no exceptions. It's always the same. And so learning to apply that rigorously with discipline, that's what we're learning. So whatever comes up, okay, I need to let this go. That's always your first step. Okay, happy to move on to number 5.
Mm-hmm. Accept your Father's gift. It is a call from love to love, that it be but itself. The Holy Spirit is his gift by which the quietness of heaven is restored to God's beloved Son. Would you refuse to take the function of completing God when all he wills is that you be complete?
Okay, the alternative.
Oh, yeah.
Keep going.
Accept your source's gift. It is a call from love to love, that it be only itself. The remembrance of perfect love is its gift, by which the quietness of pure formless awareness is restored to perfect love's beloved extension. Would you refuse to take the function of completing pure formless awareness of perfect love when all it wills is that you be complete?
Okay, so
that always gets to you, doesn't it? That, being whole and complete, you hear a lot of that you are whole and complete, but you never really understand that.
What does
And
that actually mean?
There's nothing wrong with you. There's no mistakes. You're just remembering who you are. There are no mistakes. There are no, you're just remembering who you are. But I think in how we live today, and you hear so many people talking about being whole and complete, it really does throw you off because you don't really understand anything about it. And I guess you've got to have some kind of understanding. Otherwise, you end up in, you're bypassing a lot of your life. Or like for me, I avoided a lot of my pain because I just didn't want to go there. But now, the more you do these lessons, you understand that everything's okay. You're just remembering who you are.
Yeah, it's as simple as that. Would you refuse? In the end, he brings it down to choice again. Would you refuse to take the function, completing pure formless awareness of perfect love, when all it wills is that you be complete? So this awareness is willing you to merge with it, to accept it as your only awareness. That's the core. So the foundation of your mind is this awareness, and it's now pulling you. It's this magnetic kind of pull, isn't it? To draw you down into that and say, this is your true awareness. Just come back. This is the only awareness that's going to make you happy. All of the dreams and the illusions you've made up in time and space will never satisfy you.
Are we paying attention though to that awareness? Because that's it. I mean, yeah, I'm probably not 100% with it still, but I am getting to understand it a lot more than when everything was busy. But it's so easy for us not to focus our attention. Our attention is on so many things. It's more on distraction rather than paying attention to that awareness.
Well, the world was set up as a distraction device. It was, and when you understand the metaphysics, that's why it's so important. We keep returning to this diagram. You understand the metaphysics, it all fits into place. You go, okay, well, I'm understanding now that the world was actually made to be a distraction from pure formless awareness. It was made to cover it over. It was the veil of illusion that covered over pure formless awareness. I saw that so clearly when the Holy Spirit interpreted that mystic experience. It's just a veil that we've invented to cover this awareness over, because for some reason, which is totally insane, there's no reason for this, we wanted another experience. We chose to have another awareness. And so we had to cover over this original awareness in order to have that other experience. And that's the whole drama. That's what's playing out here. We had an idea of separation from our true awareness that's caused us endless trouble. You look at this thought system honestly, and you go, would I want that? I mean, that's just completely nuts, insane, bonkers, and it's really just filled with pain and suffering. There's no reason and there's no purpose for it on its own. The only purpose it now has, reinterpreted by the Holy Spirit, is that it can restore your mind back to God, back to this love, oneness, pure formless awareness. That's the only purpose it has. And that's what the Holy Spirit sees. Okay, the only purpose of the illusion is to use the illusion to free your mind from all attachment to the illusion, to free your mind from the self-concept and open yourself to this experience. Okay, so any other thoughts on the Holy Spirit? In 30 seconds, can you summarize what is the Holy Spirit?
The remembrance of who you are.
And then, importantly, it's the interpreter. From that remembrance, you can now interpret your perceptions, reinterpret all of your perceptions in this world, which is what needs to happen in order to let go of them and go back to knowledge. There's no other way. You have to go through perception to get to knowledge. You can't just go to knowledge and forget perception like that. So it's training our perceptions, training our minds to perceive correctly, and that's what this mind training is about. He says, he says at the beginning of the course, he says, I can't teach you the meaning of love because that's beyond what can be taught, but I can teach you how to let go of all the blocks to the awareness of love's presence. So that's where that's the framework, that's the scope of this course. He's teaching us how to let go of the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, because he knows if we let go of all the blocks, then love will reveal itself. And we don't have to learn that. That will just happen. It will be an experience that happens when we're ready. But we can learn how to let go of these blocks, and that's what learning is for. And that's what the Holy Spirit is guiding us to learn, and always encouraging us to let go of more of these blocks as they show up.
Okay. Remember the word reinterpretation.
Yeah. So the Holy Spirit reinterprets everything. So if you get stuck in a negative state of mind, then what you need is to reinterpret your perception of it. You see, just change your mind about it, and that's the function of the Holy Spirit. You remember perfect love, you go into a state that is beyond the problem, even briefly, just for a few moments can help, then you bring that state back into the dream, and you can then perceive the dream differently. And that's the whole, that's what this awakening process is about. Change, transformation of perception. Okay. So happy with the Holy Spirit. What is the Holy Spirit? And how that fits into this. So the Holy Spirit is a mediator, it's the bridge, it's the arrows. And then you have the Christ, the true self that operates it. That's the self that has the perception. It has Christ's vision and does the reinterpretation. And so the Holy Spirit reinforces the Christ. And the more you reinforce the self, the one self in you, the more you experience pure formless awareness of perfect love. And so your mind is ultimately, through this process, restored into that experience and that experience only. And then there's no need for Christ or reinterpretation or forgiveness. All these things fade away. They're not required in pure formless awareness of perfect love because there's nothing else. There's nothing else to let go of. It's just that. Okay, so does that make sense? What the Holy Spirit is, how it works, how it fits into the whole picture, and that is part of this really useful operating system that is very practical. Every day you're going to have experiences, so all this is happening, but now you can reinterpret them from this higher place, which reinforces the higher self, which the more that happens, the more this experience arises. And so the Holy Spirit reinforces the Christ in you, and the Christ ultimately delivers you to God. And that's the true meaning of the Holy Trinity. Holy Spirit and the Christ deliver you to this ultimate experience we call God, which is why God is the Father, the ultimate source, and then these are kind of extensions of it. They're very useful learning tools, but in the end, it all collapses back into one. So these cease to become useful and relevant there because you just won. Okay, so let's move on to today's lesson, shall we? So read the original and then the translated version of the key idea.
My holiness shines bright and clear today. My pure formless awareness is bright and clear today.
So holiness is pure formless awareness. So this awareness in your mind that is pure, it's totally innocent, there's nothing else, there's no duality, and it's formless. It's just aware of itself and nothing else. So that's the foundation.
I've noticed how my energy has dipped since being on at the beginning to now getting to the lesson.
Yeah, so you're tired. But remember, the ego tries to make you tired to stop you doing this work. That's one of its key strategies. So just be aware of that. Okay, well, I'll just persevere through this because you're not really tired.
I just need to move a minute.
Okay.
I'll be back in a minute.
All right, no problem. So we'll just pause this. The soup is boiling up. Sorry? Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Let's just restart the recording. And restart that. Okay. So let's have another look at the lesson. So should we start again?
Mm-hmm.
So if you read the original and then the translated version.
My holiness shines bright and clear today. My pure formless awareness is bright and clear today.
His holiness is this pure formless awareness. Just awareness of awareness. It's the foundation of your mind, without which you would have no awareness, no life. So you can't go beyond it. So it's taking it down to the very essence, and it's allowing it to shine bright and clear today in you. So this idea of shining. I changed shining to is. I wasn't sure about that. And if the word shines works for you, but it actually is. You know, it is there. It's bright and clear.
My pure formless awareness shines bright and clear today. Yeah.
But it is actually, it is there. It is bright and clear. It's there. And the statement is just to connect you with that awareness. So that you experience, that awareness is there right now. If you're not thinking, right now, just pause. There's no thought, no emotion going on. What's there? There's something, isn't there? For those few moments, there's no thoughts. It's just awareness. Nothing conscious going through your mind, no thoughts, no emotion, just an awareness. So this is why we do practices like meditation, because you come into that awareness and go, well, beyond all the thoughts and all the emotions, it's just this awareness. It's like the blue sky. And this light shines through. There's a light or an awareness that's there, that's present. When you sense that, it's very bright, it's very clear. There's no difficulty. There's no problems. There's none of the turbulation of the ego. It just is. It's like the baseline awareness. And so the lesson's just pointing you to that, to connect you with that. Okay, so read the original and then the translated version in the first paragraph.
Today I wake with joy, expecting but the happy things of God to come to me. I ask but them to come, and realize my invitation will be answered by the thoughts to which it has been sent by me, and I will ask for only joyous things. The instant I accept my holiness, for what would be the use of pain to me? What purpose would my suffering fulfill, and how would grief and loss avail me if insanity departs from me today, and I accept my holiness instead?
Okay. So any thoughts on that?
I did think something, but I can do it after this one.
Okay, read the alternative. See what arises.
Today I wake with joy, expecting only the happy things of perfect love to come to me. I ask only them to come and realize my invitation will be answered by the thoughts to which it has been sent by me. And I will ask for only joyous things the moment I set my pure formless awareness. But what is the use of pain to me? What purpose does my suffering fulfill? And how can grief and loss be of any use to me if insanity leaves me today and I set my pure formless awareness instead?
Okay.
There's a lot in that, isn't there?
So what's thoughts or feelings? It's also about feeling it. I say what thoughts. It's actually about feeling it. Okay, so what am I feeling? Because that's what it's designed to evoke. These words evoke a thought / feeling, thought, emotion in you. And be aware of that. Because that's pointing you. That's what it's designed to do. Remember, these are pointers into the experience of this presence.
And I have to admit that this morning when I did the lesson, I did do that. You know, listening to the song, I felt joy, early expecting happy things. I asked for guidance, you know. And I could see this was at play this morning. Well, all day, to be fair.
Ask only for joyous things. He's talking about a state of flow here. Joyous things. Joyous, we must change that. Joyous experiences, maybe. Things isn't really, things implies form. Joyous experiences. The moment I accept my pure formless awareness. So what the state of flow comes out of pure formless awareness. You must have that as a foundation. If you're not aware of that, you cannot experience flow, you cannot experience joy, because that's the foundation for it. And what insanity and pain and suffering and all the ego's thoughts and emotions do is they just cover that over. They cover over the pure formless awareness and make you believe something else is true. And they sabotage your joy. You can't experience joy unless you connect it to this awareness. So right now, you just look in and you go, okay, is that joy? Maybe there's no like massive excitement, but there's an underlying presence, isn't there? And then sometimes that can be a bit stronger, and it can, you know, Eckhart Tolle called joy vibrantly alive peace, which I quite like. But there's this underlying peace, so that's your base state, always there. And if you stay rooted in that, then your experiences will flow from that state in a much more helpful, harmonious way, that we call flow. And then you might experience an energizing of that state into joy. And like, oh, actually, I'm really, and you can have these moments where you really just smile. And it's like, I can just feel this something bubbling up, isn't it? It's just bubbling up. And you can't help but smile and laugh. And
yeah, isn't it amazing that when you just saying the word joy or whatever, and I could just sense a smile, you know, and then you've obviously been talking about Cortelli or whatever, and it's amazing how that's just, it really is actually amazing, because today I wake with joy, and just that word joy, when you think that you need something externally for that, a load of bollocks, because it's here now.
Yeah, you need nothing other than to drop into your own awareness, and it's always there. So this undoes the seeking of the ego. I don't need to seek outside of me for any other experience than what I have right now. It's there right now. And I can experience that right now. Now I take that pure formless awareness into my life, and that interprets all of my experiences for me. So I'm not seeking anymore outside of myself to find some kind of joy and satisfaction. I'm not looking outside to the external world to give me the happiness I'm craving, I'm already there. I'm happy, I'm in joy, I have this underlying happiness or peace. There's different words you can use for it. And Ramana Maharshi called it happiness. Eckhart Tolle calls it this peace. And joy just becomes the aliveness of that peace, a vibrantly alive peace. And it kind of comes to life and it flows into your experience. And that is a very happy experience of life. That's the happy dream. But it's inside out. It's connecting with this and then allowing that to come into the external world. And now you perceive from that place, rooted in your true awareness. And you will tend to have an experience that's much more joyful, much happier. And that then feeds back and says, well, yes, actually, joy is true. And this awareness is true, and it does work. And now you create a positive feedback loop. And what's happening in the external world confirms that this is true, that you are this awareness. You are the Christ. And then you get, that just keeps being reinforced the more you perceive that way. Challenges come up to that. The ego is going to try and challenge that and try and knock you off it by introducing something that's obviously not joyful. So, well, that's not joyful. So how can you say that, joy is your natural state when that's happened and that's happened and that's happened? And then you apply the letting go. No, because that's not real. That's just the covering over. That's the veil of illusion, trying to cover over this awareness and this joy and convince you that it's not there. So don't listen to it. It's a lie. Let it go and restore your mind to what's still there, always has been there. So again, you're very, very simple, but so profound, because the truth is simple, but it's profound because we have denied it. And this is the uncovering of it. So these very simple lessons, it's not complicated language he's using, just simple pointers, but you can have an experience, a deep experience of joy through a simple lesson like this, which is also quite extraordinary. The power of words, just to point us into an alternative state of mind. Okay, so any thoughts on number one or feelings?
No, that was good.
I choose joy and nothing else. I don't want anything else. Nothing else is of any use to me. So why can't I have joy continuously in my life? And the egos go, oh, no, you can't possibly have that. Because that's just not the way life here works. But if you truly clean your mind, it doesn't matter what happens in the illusion, you can experience joy. We're talking death, disaster, chaos, mayhem. It doesn't matter. You can still experience that joy because it's still in you. It hasn't gone anywhere. The ego will say, well, that's blasphemous. How can you have joy if someone dies? Or, all of the pain and the suffering that goes on. And so, well, how can you possibly have joy? Because you recognize that none of it's true. That's why. It's that simple understanding. None of it's true. So why am I giving it any power to influence my mental and emotional state if it's not true? And this is the only way to consistently have peace and joy. You must deny the dream, because if you allow it, it will consistently cover over your joy and you won't experience it. And then who suffers? You do. You're deprived of, really what is your lifeblood. Joy is your lifeblood. This is what makes life worthwhile. Energizes you. It brings you a happy experience. It's like, well, actually, if I'm in joy, I understand I'm in an illusion, but it's okay, because I realize through my joy, I'm not really here. My joy connects me with the other world that I'm part of. So I'm in the world, but I'm not of it. My body's still functioning here, but I'm not of it, because joy is not of this world. This world is made to cover over joy. When you understand the simplicity of it, just so helpful, because the ego's mechanisms then don't confuse you. You go, okay, I just understand what it is. I understand what it's all about. And so I'm not looking for joy in the world anymore, because I'm never going to find it there. The world is made to deny joy and love and peace. So I'm not going to look for it there. I'm going to look for it within me. And then I'm going to allow all of my perceptions to be changed, so that I experience joy no matter what, inside out rather than outside in perception. Okay, so moving on to number 2, if you read the original.
Father, my holiness is yours. Let me rejoice in it, and through forgiveness be restored to sanity. Your Son is still as you created him. My holiness is part of me and also part of you. And what can alter holiness itself?
Okay, and then the translation.
My source, my pure formless awareness is yours. Let me rejoice in it, and through letting go, be restored to sanity. Your extension is still as you extend it. My pure formless awareness is part of me and also part of you. And what can change pure formless awareness itself?
Okay, so pointing us to a state of mind. You know, holiness is one pointer, but for a lot of people, they get turned off by that. Holiness, well, it sounds sort of holier than thou. Images of extremely pious Christians who are hypocritical come to mind for a lot of people. I'm so holier than thou, you know, there's that saying. So use another pointer. It's your pure formless awareness. It's the fundamental awareness without which you would have no existence. So simply saying, well, connect with that. Let go of the illusions that cover it over, and just experience this awareness. And realize that nothing can change it. It is what it is, eternally. It is unchangeable, it's immutable, and nothing we've invented, none of the ego's alternatives to it mean anything. So you can discard them all and just rest in this awareness. That's knowledge when you do that. Then you come home, then you're one with God again. And the dream is over. If you rest in pure formless awareness alone and there's nothing else going on, no other awareness, then that's the mystical merging of the Father and the Son. Your awareness has become one with the pure formless awareness of perfect love, which is the source. Does that make sense? So simple. You know, how could such a simple truth have eluded us for so many years? But that's the cunning of the ego. It wants to obscure it, it doesn't want you to see it clearly. So through these simple lessons, he's just getting us to see the simple logic for ourselves and accept it. So, okay, well, that does make sense. Yes, I get it. Okay. I accept it. Accept this as the truth, and then if you accept this, you have a way out. You see, you accept the teaching at any situation that's difficult. You now have a way out, because you can say, well, I can let this go. I can change my mind about it. I can let it go. If you don't accept it, what do? There's no way out. It's real. And then you end up using magical means to try and somehow make it better. So I could do this on the level of form, I could do this, and you're not really fixing the source of the problem, which is in your mind. You're just you're making things real, and then you're trying to rearrange the deck chairs on the Titanic, to use an analogy. So the Titanic's going down, your illusion is of death and disaster is seemingly happening, and you're trying to rearrange the deck chairs. What you need to do is get off the boat, really. That's what you need to do. Because rearranging the deck chairs temporarily to be temporarily more comfortable while the Titanic's sinking isn't really going to work. So that's just another analogy that might help you as a pointer. Okay, so what's he saying in the lesson overall? What's your key takeaway from the lesson?
Follow your bliss.
Yeah.
Follow your joy.
Another pointer. Yeah. Then the source of your joy is this awareness. So you connect with this awareness, joy will follow. As surely as you can see the sun on a cloudless day, it's inevitable.
Well, it's just like you just said, what we've been believing for so long, and just here having this conversation, thinking, joy, and I'm smiling and stuff like that, and you're thinking to yourself, you believed it weren't peace, joy, love. Now look. But like you said, the ego is quite subtle, and you have to be ever so careful because it will get through. I'm noticing so much now.
Well, one thought can sabotage that. You start thinking about a situation in your life, and you go out of the now, and you start thinking about the past and the future. And in a minute or two, you're away with the fairies. You're in dreamland, and that awareness is covered over again, and you're now stuck in thought. Past, future channel. You're not aware of the present moment. Joy can't come through. And that's when most people spend their lives, in that fog. Past, future, trying to work it out, all the situations in their life. And all it's designed to do is cover over this awareness, the pure formless awareness of perfect love, which is available only now. And sabotage their peace and their happiness and their joy in the process. When you see that, so like in that mystic experience I had afterwards, the Holy Spirit's interpretation, it was so obvious to me. It was like the whole course just dropped, and I was like, oh, okay, I get it. I see exactly what we've done. We projected the entire world to justify these thoughts and emotions that cover over this awareness, because we didn't want this awareness anymore. We wanted to be separate from that awareness. And the world just justifies the thoughts and emotions that we wanted to think and feel. But we can change our mind. We don't have to continue to want that. That's why at the core of this, it comes down to desire, doesn't it? What's the desire of the heart? Do you want to continue to be separate and experience all of the clouding over of your true awareness? Or do you want to just be one self and allow that self to reveal your true awareness to you? That's the core of the choice. That was the original choice we made. And in every situation, that's the choice you must make again. Which is profound. You think you're changing your mind about the entire universe here. When you change your mind in an instance, whatever that instance might be. That's why this is powerful. You change your mind about the whole thing whenever you change your mind. And the more you do that, those systematic progressive changes of mind in each situation, then you change your mind entirely. Okay, I don't choose to be a separate self in any way, shape, or form anymore. Change my mind entirely. I am the one self. I am rooted in this pure formless awareness. My beliefs, thoughts, emotions, and perceptions have all been changed. And that is absolutely life-changing. You've transformed from one thought system to another. That's completely opposite. It's completely the reversal of the previous one. So it's the true meaning of life-changing. To change your life is not to just change your perception and try and rearrange the deck chairs on the Titanic. Say, okay, well, I'll go for some behavioral change, and I'd like to. Take weight loss as an example. I'm just picking it. Okay, well, I'd like to lose 10 kilograms, so I set a goal and I lose the 10 kilograms, and I go, oh, actually, my body's much better, so I'm feeling lighter and trimmer, and now I can, show off my beach body in the summer. It's not a fundamental change, is it? Nothing's really changed, because you still believe you're a separate self. You still believe you're a body. And what's resting underneath all of this is that separate self concept, which at some point will help you. You've now increased your identification with the body through that experience. And now if the body gets sick, or you put on the weight again or whatever, you now suffer. because you go, oh, well, I was identified with body as slim body, and now I'm a fat body again, or I'm a sick body. And oh, okay, so now I'm depressed because my body's not living up to my expectations. Whereas the true healing goes, you're never a body. You're not a body. So it's not about losing the weight to look good to others. It's about correcting your misperception in your mind. Look at the core belief that drives your overeating, that drives all of this, and then change it, because you're not that person. You're not a fat person. You're not a person who is lacking in any way. So you don't need to fill the hole with food. You see, because if you're complete and whole already, why do you need some external substance called food to ingest to fill that hole? You don't. So that's just an example of how this methodology would work in a practical situation, like it's quite common for people, weight loss or any situation. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the lesson. Shall we do a meditation on it?
Did you want to do a meditation, or did you want to do something else? I can't remember what you said. You want to do a...
So there's one paragraph of reading that I want to do, which is on the reading for today, which bring it up. Section 4.8 of the Manual for Teachers, which is on patience. So there's one paragraph of that. So yeah, we can read that if you like, and then do the meditation. Would you like to do that?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so this one is section 4.8.
I just thought, shall we do the meditation and then read that last one if it's only one paragraph?
Okay, whichever way you want to do it.
It's a short meditation, I take it, or is it a
15, 20 minutes?
Okay.
I tell you what I'll do. I'll include it in the meditation. Then we can read it afterwards, just to formalize any other learning.
Okay.
So we'll go into the med, and I'll read this as part of the meditation. All right. So just making yourself comfortable. Put yourself on mute if you want. So sitting comfortably, feet shoulder width apart, back straight, cup your hands on your lap. Close your eyes. And start off by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. So breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises, and the subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Just connecting with your heart space. Breathing into your heart. Put one hand on your heart to connect in. Drawing the energy up your spine into the crown of your head. Just pausing at the top of the inhale. And smile. And so just become aware of whatever thoughts and emotions are going on for you, particularly anything that feels negative, limiting, contracted, constricting in any way. Just breathe in, create some awareness, some space around these things, some light. If it helps, you can visualize breathing light in, a beautiful golden or white light into every pore, every cell, every muscle of your body, every part of your mind, every fiber of your being. In the light. So observe any thoughts and any emotions, any related body sensations going on, which seem to be, other than this awareness, seem to be at all limiting, contracted, constricting in any way, shape, or form, and then you just let those go. Blow them away with the breeze of your breath, like dark clouds Imagine they're like dark clouds just being blown away. They have no power to obscure the blue sky, which is the pure formless awareness, perfect love. Perfect love is the source, sun shining through it all, lighting up the sky, pure formless awareness of your mind with its beneficence. And so you just rest here. In the deep peace and stillness. Nothing else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Just rest in this open, empty, spacious awareness. Breathing in and out through your nose, through the nostrils, observing subtle sensations of the breath flowing in and out. Keep your mind still and quiet. So open the space for these words to come in and just drop into your awareness like pebbles into a pond on a very still, calm, windless day. Just dropping in like pebbles. So that these words just permeate into your awareness. And the analogy we just seep in, just let them seep through like water on the surface seeping through the bedrock into a cave below, just seeping in deeply into your mind, dripping through into your subconscious. So the key idea for today is my holiness shines bright and clear today, or my pure formless awareness is bright and clear today. And so today, says Yeshua, I wake with joy, expecting only the happy things of perfect love to come to me. I ask only them to come and realize my invitation will be answered by the thoughts to which it has been sent by me. And this is ask only them to come. The invitation will be answered by the thoughts to which the invitation has been sent by me. So invited the thoughts in and then they'll come. And I will ask for only joyous experiences the moment I accept my pure formless awareness. So just sink into that awareness. It's beyond naming, beyond concepts, just the very foundational awareness in your mind, without which you would have no life. And therefore it is the source of your life and all life. Our fundamental awareness, or it's sometimes called consciousness, but consciousness in ACIM terms denotes the domain of illusion, the split, the mind that thinks that it's separate from this awareness. So we'll stick with awareness. I accept my pure formless awareness now. Just keep watching your breath and allowing this acceptance just to permeate a bit deeper with each breath, going deeper and deeper into the joyous experience of this awareness. With your eyes closed, you're not doing anything, nothing extraordinary happening on the level of form. You're just experiencing this arising of joy, maybe subtle, just an underlying peace. I think what Tony calls it vibrantly alive peace. Let that just come to life for you. Sinking into the peace comes from this awareness. Remind yourself, what is the use of pain to me? What purpose does my suffering fulfill, and how can grief and loss be of any use to me whatsoever? If insanity leaves me today and I accept my pure formless awareness instead, I can let go of all these things. Pure formless awareness of perfect love. Just sink into it, accept it, feel it. Say now, my source, my pure formless awareness is yours. It comes from the same source. Let me rejoice in it, and through letting go, be restored to sanity. Your extension is still as you extend it. My pure formless awareness is part of me and also part of you. And what can change pure formless awareness itself? And just rest with these questions. They're just pointers into this deeper state of awareness. Feel that awareness arising. And now listen to these words, this teaching about patience, which obviously comes from this pure formless awareness. It all stems from true awareness. This is from section 4.8 of the Manual for Teachers, characteristics of God's or love's teachers. This is number 8, which is patience. Let's hear what Yeshua has to say about patience. Just keep watching your breath. Breathing in and out through your nose, at your nostrils. Breathing in and out through your nostrils. Spiritual practice is really the essence of patience. Just patiently working away, patiently guiding. Guiding yourself, letting the Spirit guide you. Remember, it's perfect love into the truth. So it requires a lot of patience on this journey. Not an overnight quick fix. It's disciplined, dedicated application of thoughts and emotions. So let's hear what Yeshua has to say about patience as you continue watching your breath. So he says those who are certain of the outcome can afford to wait and wait without anxiety. Patience is natural to the teacher of God, teacher of perfect love. All he sees is certain outcome at a time perhaps unknown to him as yet, but not in doubt. The time will be as right as is the answer. And this is true for everything that happens now or in the future. Past as well held no mistakes. Nothing that did not serve to benefit the world as well as him to whom it seemed to happen. Perhaps it was not understood at the time. Even so, teacher of God or perfect love is willing to reconsider all his or her past decisions if they're causing pain to anyone. Patience is natural to those who trust. Sure of the ultimate interpretation of all things in time, no outcome already seen or yet to come can cause them fear. They're very patient, very persistent. And so just rest patiently in this deep state of patient presence connected with your source, pure formless awareness. Just let that awareness be there. Allow the light, your awareness, this awareness just to shine through. And sink inwards to the heart of reality in your own heart, very patiently, very kindly, very gently. Nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about, just be patient and surrender to the experience of right now. Patience is the opposite of craving and desiring. You get impatient for things and desperate. Patience connects you with your source that is always there. It's a very restful, calming presence. Even while you're any thoughts arise that seem to disturb this peaceful, patient presence. This might be a thought of anxiety. What am I going to do about this situation? And then a bit of worry comes in. You go out of the now. Notice how that happens. You just move your attention out of the now into the future, which is illusory, as it doesn't really exist. And let go the breeze of your breath. Just breathe in this peaceful, patient presence, pure formless awareness, all the P's going on. Into your body, to your mind. The body's just symbolic of what's happening in the mind. And feel this open, spacious awareness. You feel the patience, doesn't get impatient, doesn't think badly of anyone. I'm going to exhale, just blowing it all away with the breeze of your breath to the nothingness that it really is. And resting in this patient presence, been waiting for you forever. It's been in your mind forever, waiting for this day to be acknowledged. So that you see clearly, finally, see the truth that only this presence or awareness is true and real. And so just gently coming back in this deep state of awareness into awareness of the body and the breath and the senses and the world. And on the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. So 1, just breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Take another sip of air, and at the top, observe any thoughts and any emotions going on. Any sensations, it feels negative or limiting or contracted, constricted in any way. And just let it all go. It's just a cloud. Blow it all away with the breeze of your breath into the nothingness that it really is. Without any clouds, there's just the blue sky of your true awareness. Nothing else going on, so just connect in with that awareness and bring that into your sense perceptions. So notice what you're feeling, your body, notice the weight of your body, pressing down into the chair, your feet touching the ground. And there's a subtle flow of air on your skin, notice that. Notice what you're hearing in the surrounding environment. And just noticing all these things. In this very still, calm, surrendered, and patient place. So there's no desperation energy in spirit. It's just very patient, very gentle, very loving, patience and kindness and tolerance and non-judgment. Love all go hand in hand. Impatience goes with the ego, as surely as patience goes with love and truth. And so just observe all of your sensations on the count of 2, weight of the body pressing down into the chair, feet touching the ground. Breathe in again, notice any smell in your nose, maybe there's a subtle taste in your mouth, notice that, notice what you're hearing. Just allowing everything to kind of blow through your mind like a cloud, without judgment, without interpretation. Without the meaning you give it, it has no real meaning. And so you're willing just to let it go, to the nothingness that it really is. And rest in this peaceful place of pure formless awareness, state of pure formless awareness. This will guide all of your perceptions for the rest of the afternoon and evening. And to help you stay connected to it, just top yourself up every hour, reminding yourself of today's lesson, that my holiness or my pure formless awareness shines bright and clear today. You can use a 3-minute breath break I've sent you, or giving you instructions to do this in under a minute in your Telegram message and email today. So practice well, keep you in tune with this peaceful, patient presence of pure formless awareness. So now 3, open your eyes, just look around, and being willing to just observe everything from this peaceful place. Without judgment, notice how peaceful your perception is. Look at an object for a few seconds. Just focus on that. Notice how you're feeling. Notice this awareness very much there. And then move on to looking at another object, and you'll see the same awareness there. It's exactly the same, identical awareness. Nothing has really changed. And so this teaches you that this awareness is there always. It underlies all of your perceptions, and therefore it must be your awareness. It's your true default awareness or nature. So that brings us to the end of the meditation. Thanks, Susie, for doing that. So I think now let's have a look at, just have a quick read of this paragraph. So let's just read this one paragraph. I'll share my screen again, which I've just read in the meditation on patience, which is the 8th characteristic of God's teachers or love's teachers, which we're working through today. So if you read the original and then the translation.
Is that it?
Yeah, those who are certain of the outcome.
Oh, those who are certain of the outcome can afford to wait, and wait without anxiety. Patience is natural to the teacher of God. All he sees is certain outcome, at a time perhaps unknown to him as yet, but not in doubt. The time will be as right as in the answer.
As is the answer.
The time will be as right as is the answer. And this is true for everything that happens now or in the future. The past as well held no mistakes, nothing that did not serve to benefit the world, as well as him to whom it seemed to happen. Perhaps it was not understood at the time. Even so, the teacher of God is willing to reconsider all his past decisions if they are causing pain to anyone. Patience is natural to those who trust, sure of the ultimate interpretation of all things in time. No outcome already seen or yet to come can cause them fear.
Okay. So let's go through it again, unpack it, translate it as we go.
Those who are certain of the outcome can afford to wait, and wait without anxiety.
So it's a done deal. That's what he's saying. People might say, well, when's enlightenment going to come? Doesn't matter. It's a done deal. It's going to happen. So he's saying be patient, and there's no anxiety because you know it's a done deal.
Patience is natural to the teacher of perfect love. All he sees is certain outcome at a time perhaps unknown to him as yet, but not in doubt.
So I'll change that to her if you want. So you don't necessarily know when this is all going to happen, but the outcome is certain. You will go to pure formless awareness and perfect love. You will merge your mind with that. You will escape the dream. And that's a done deal. So you can be infinitely patient knowing that. So there's no doubt. Patience rests on trust, doesn't it? Which was the first characteristic, if you remember. Trust. You trust that this is, it's just a matter of time. This will unfold. You have absolute certainty and no doubt. And then you will be patient. The ego is typically impatient because it wants some kind of solution to its imagined problems now. So there's this desperate craving kind of energy. I want it now. In our modern society, we've seen that, in the instant gratification. I want it now. Whereas this will be like, well, it's fine, but I've got all of time, which is taking me to eternity. So there's no rush now. Just be patient. It's unfolding. And so very useful in this process. You're working through all this stuff. Just be very patient, very loving, kind with yourself, gentle, because it's like this slow unpicking. It's this revealing of the masterpiece. Think of Michelangelo chipping away at the statue of David. Very patient. That would have taken him, I think it took him years, just chipping away, just patiently. Just unveiling it. So you can afford to be patient knowing that the outcome is not in doubt, is what he's saying.
The time will be as right as is the answer, and this is true for everything that happens now or in the future. The past has as well held no mistakes, nothing that did not serve to benefit the world as well as him to whom it seemed to happen. Perhaps it was not understood at the time. Even so, the teacher of perfect love is willing to reconsider all his past decisions if they are causing pain to anyone. Patience is natural to those who trust, sure of the ultimate interpretation of all things in time. No outcome already seen or yet to come can cause them fear.
Okay. So any thoughts on that? Time will be as right as is the answer.
Patience.
So seeing everything as part of this process of waking up, of at-one-ment, and it's all perfect in its apparent imperfection. And you allow the process to unfold for you. And this is also a universal hallmark of the God's teachers, just patience. If ever you've met someone who's more enlightened, there's never a desperate energy. It's just this patient, kind, loving presence. They seem to have more time than other people do. So they've somehow transcended the limitations of time and time-bound consciousness. So the ego says, I'm impatient, I'm desperate to get things done. And that's not rooting you in pure formless awareness. It's taking you away from it. Patience is natural to those who trust. Okay, that's a big takeaway. Sure of the ultimate interpretation of all things, all, say, events in time. No outcome already perceived or yet to come can cause them fear. Because they would just see that it's part of the process. Whatever outcome happens, it's part of the journey of awakening. So what's there to fear? The ultimate outcome is not in doubt. So patience and trust go hand in hand. Okay, so any thoughts on that?
No.
Yeah, it's a lovely quality, I think, to have patience. So these are all the the values that you can have that express pure formless awareness and perfect love. Characteristics of how this expresses for you, your values, if you like, and that's where the rubber meets the road. Pure formless awareness of perfect love is often so abstract, or unconditional love. I am love. Okay, that's quite abstract. How does that actually play out for you in life? Well, he's given us 10 characteristics here of the advanced teachers of God that we can develop while we seem to be in time. Okay, so that's just very short, sweet, one paragraph. Any thoughts, comments, questions on that?
No.
Okay, so I guess that brings us to the end of the session, the group session anyway. If you'd like to continue, we can do a one-on-one now if you want. And do you want to do that?
Let me just see if the dog's all right.
Okay, no